Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. So just as promised, I know I'm a little late, but better late than never, right? Today we're going to be talking about LB or Lion Brand Velux Velvet yarns. I've done a video in the past discussing Bernat's Velvet yarn line, and so today I'm actually going to be holding up both of those yarns, showing you price comparisons, all of that good stuff, giving you all of the details and letting you know what my honest thoughts are. So if you want, grab yourself a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, get cozy, and we're gonna dive right in. Okay, so some of you may not know, at least I didn't know upon just initially hearing about Lion Brand's velvet yarn. I didn't realize that the size difference between the Lion Brand velvet yarn, which is called Velux, and the Bernat velvet yarn, they were different yarn weights. So the Bernat velvet yarn is a size 5 weight, and as you can see, it definitely is thicker, like that. It offers a little bit more of a bulk to it, so it's a size 5 yarn. But the Lion Brand yarn, and I'm going to hold it up for you so you can see, it is a size 4 weight yarn. So much thinner, as you can see, much thinner, okay? Now, I was a little bit shocked about this, and I designed a sweater pattern, and unbeknownst to me, not realizing that the velvet yarn from Lion Brand was a bit smaller, some people were having some issues with making that. So I just want to hold up both of these together so you can see the different weights. And let's see if I hold them up here. So it's not a massive difference, but you can definitely tell this one is a little bit more thin than this one. So there's definitely a difference there in the two sizes. This one is definitely thicker. So let's talk about price. The LB yarn is $6.99, and that is pulling straight from the Lion Brand website. Obviously, Joann is going to run specials, and so is Michael's. So you're going to obviously get discounts, especially if you use coupons and stuff like that. But if you're buying straight from Amazon, or if you're buying straight from Lion Brand, you're going to run $6.99 a cake for this. Now, inside that cake, you get 6 color options. You're going to get 246 yards. So I am in the middle of making kind of a triangle scarf with the Velux, and I'm about, let's see if I can show you. I'm about halfway through, and the size is pretty decent. So I think for like a triangle scarf, if you were going to do like one of those one skein type of pattern things that people really love to do to just like work up a quick project, this is good for that. But if we compare the yardage to Bernat, with Bernat, if you get one of the big cake, or not cakes, it's a hank or skein. I'm sorry, there's so many different names. If you get one skein or skein, whichever way you say it, you're going to get 315 yards, and you can pay anywhere between $7.69 and $9.89, that's US dollars, for the Bernat Velvet yarn. Obviously, prices are going to be different depending on which website you purchase from, but this is pulling from Joann. I didn't check out Yarnspirations, but I know Yarnspirations, they run a lot of deals and specials, and so you can get coupons and different things if you decide to go the Bernat Velvet yarn. So not just do you get more yardage out of the Bernat Velvet, you also get more color options. So I have only ever looked at the Velvet in store, and in store they don't carry all the colors, but whenever I was getting this information so I could share it with you guys, I learned that they actually have 10 total colors in the Bernat Velvet yarn. They have white, they have kind of like a camel-y color, they have black, they have gray, which I've worked with the gray before and I really love it, and several other colors that are really beautiful. So I was kind of surprised to see that. As far as texture is concerned, they feel exactly the same. Obviously, if you're trying to meet gauge or something like that, if you're working on a specific project, you're going to have to compensate for that by, you know, doing more per stitch, or maybe going up a hook size or something in order to maintain gauge if you're wanting to go with Lion Brand's Velux yarn. Now, I will say that you are getting different colors with the different yarns. So for instance, this is almost kind of, it's supposed to be lilac, I believe is the color they call that. This is lilac, so it's kind of a purpley hue. From what I could see on Bernat's, Joann's website, they didn't really have a Bernat version of the velvet that was comparable. I'm gonna sneeze. It went away. They didn't really have a comparable color, so I will say that for the most part, you're not going to get exactly the same colors unless you just go neutral, but so there is a little bit of a difference there. So the feel is exactly the same. Obviously, the weights are slightly different, and I will say there is enough difference that it can throw off a pattern if a pattern is using Bernat versus the LB or vice versa. So that's just something to keep in mind and take into consideration if you're choosing a project. You'll want to be aware of that there is a weight difference between the two. Price difference, not a huge price difference, obviously, because the LB Velux is selling for $6.99, and then of course if you can catch a good Lion Brand sell, you're going to be able to get it on a discounted amount. I have not, so I have checked Walmart and I have checked my local Joann and my local Michaels, and not that I'm hating on my town, but we don't have the greatest yarn selections in our stores because none of my stores carry the Lion Brand Velux yarn in store. I have not seen it. So I had to order it. I ordered it on Amazon because I was trying to get a really good deal, and Amazon happened to be doing like a deal of the day on the Velux yarn. So I actually got it from Amazon, which I was kind of happy with because it came in 2 days. So I've never seen any of the other colors in person with the Velux, so I can't speak to other colors as far as how rich it is or how vibrant the colors are. I would say the lilac was pretty close to the pictures, although it looked a little lighter in the photos that I saw online, and it does come out a little darker in person, so that was just an observation that I had. And well, another good thing too about the Bernat, or I'm sorry, the Velux versus the Bernat is the Lion Brand yarn actually comes already caked for you, which is always nice, and it does have a center pull, which is nice. The Bernat Velvet yarn, because it's in the skein form, sometimes you have like the yarn throw up where you're trying to find the center pull and you can't quite find it, and it just, you know, kind of pukes on you. So that's kind of a bummer, and I will say that I prefer the caking over the skeining, unless it's like a Caron Simply Soft where it's just already out, ready to go, and you can pull and there's no issue. But I haven't experienced that, and I've worked with probably a dozen or so Bernat Velvet skeins, and I have not experienced a smooth, oh, it just pulled out so easily. So that's another thing to take into consideration. It's really not that big of a deal. It's just more of a personal preference. If you want to fight with your yarn, by all means, go ahead. You're obviously, you're paying pretty close to the same price, but you're getting a significant amount of yardage difference. So you're going to pay $7 for 246 yards of a size 4 yarn, and then you're going to pay close to $9 to $10 depending on how good of a deal you can get for the Bernat Velvet yarn in a 5 weight with 315 yards. So that's just something to consider too. Like, would you rather get more yarn for your money, or you know, do you want to get a specific color from Lion Brand? These are all things to think about. But overall, the consensus for me is they're pretty equal as far as the way that they perform, the way that they feel, all of that stuff. It really boils down to the amount of yardage, the color that you want, and what else was I going to say? the amount of yardage, the color that you want, and the price that you want to pay. That's really what it boils down to, because comparatively speaking, they really feel exactly the same. I didn't purchase a skein of the Yarn Bee yarn, which that is an in-house Hobby Lobby yarn, but from what I can tell, you get way less yardage, you get way less color selections, and you're gonna pay, if I remember correctly, I think it's $4.99 a skein. So for me, with the less amount of yardage and the fact that your color options are less, you're paying more for that yarn. So that's kind of one reason why I didn't buy it. I was like, that's a lot for not a lot of options. Now I am planning on doing another review of an Etsy yarn shop called Gansett that they have an in-house velvet yarn, and the texture is totally different. It's not like anything you've experienced with Bernat or LB. So I'm excited to share that with you guys because I think that you're really gonna like it. And the color options, there's a lot of color options, and Nuraya, who is the owner of Gansett, she is so fabulous, and I have worked with her for a number of years now, and I just really love her product. And they have a lot of sustainable yarns, and they really thrive on giving back and all of that good stuff. So be on the lookout for my reviewing and comparing these three velvets. So it would be the LB, the Bernat, and the Gansett velvet yarn. And if there are any other international companies that have velvet yarns that you would like me to try out, let me know. I would love to get my hands on different ones because, like I said, I was surprised to learn that there wasn't a lot of variation between the Bernat and the velvet, but when I did order from Gansett, seeing that the texture was completely different, the hues of the yarns were completely different, I was like, oh, there is different ways to do velvet yarn. So like I said, I'm excited to share that with you guys. I really hope you're having a great day. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It helps me out a lot. Be sure you subscribe, hit the notifications button, which is the little bell, and let me know any other yarns that you would like me to review down in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video.